I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting to order for Tuesday, March 2nd. Roll call, please.
Mary Kudowski.
Here.
Gary Paul. Here. Steve Kabacki.
Here.
Mike Skippington.
Here.
Jay Krieger.
Here.
Corey Campbell.
Here.
And Jim Allen is excused.
Okay, please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember all our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action on the minutes of the regular meeting from February 2nd, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second that.
Motion and a second to approve those meeting minutes. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda. Since we have no public here, I'm going to move on because the people in our audience are with the item on the agenda. So 7A, action items. Action regarding amendment request for the Bohemian Park Planned Unit Development PUD height limit. Aaron.
Okay, the requested PUD amendment is for the second building to be constructed as part of the Bohemian Park apartment complex at the corner of Morris Avenue and Holmgren Way. So again, this will be the second building, not building 2. There's some discrepancies in terms of the numbering. I'll refer to this as the second building constructed. The PUD that was approved for the Bohemian Park a few years back, it did have a 60-foot height limit in the language at the time. Consistent with the height map that you see before you here. This height map was completed, I believe, back in 2003, and identifies different height zones for the village of Ashwaubenon. What you can see here is the orange is a 60-foot height max, the blue is 120-foot height max, and the gray actually is 36-foot height max. As part of the height requirements, there are options within both the orange and the blue, respectively, to increase the heights by conditional use permit. Since this property is part of a PUD, the PUD actually governs the height restrictions. In this case, that's set at 60 feet. The proposed building 2 for Bohemian Park is actually proposed to be about 67 feet tall. It is 1 story higher than the existing building, which is 4 stories. Building 2 is proposed to be 5 stories. The requested PUD amendment is to increase that height in this location to 70 feet. So additional 10 feet to accommodate the additional story for the second building. If you have any questions regarding the requested PUD amendment, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, representatives of the ownership group are also in the audience.
Can we make an assumption that business is good and that's why this is going up higher? I mean, you're selling out better than you expected.
Tim, if you wouldn't mind coming up here.
Hi, Tim Wolaz, 320 East Buffalo Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53202. I got it together. I would say they are as scheduled or as they thought they would do. They still have some work to do in leasing, but they're doing well enough to keep going, and it's a vision, a legacy project for the owner. So I think, yeah, we're on schedule.
Jim, when this project came about with building number 1, I think all buildings were 5 stories high at that present time. You put this one, first building down to 4, now you're going back up to 5. So it's nothing new to the original plan that they came with in front of us. How long has that been already? 3 years?
It's, we were just talking about that. I can't remember if it was 2016 or,
It was 2017 when I
Okay.
first started with the village.
17, so we're going on 4 years with it, so. So it's nothing new to the project. Came in front of site plan this afternoon, and we had no problems with the 70-foot height.
Okay, any other questions?
The next building that's going to go up, we're going to have the same issue?
So the,
Or is it just because if we approve this with the PUD, then it's covered?
correct, right? If-
Gotcha.
If the next building is 70 feet or lower, it'll be covered.
Okay.
If there's a reason to increase it, higher, I guess it would come forward with a PUD amendment at that point.
Okay.
Aaron, can you tell us the maximum height they can go to, isn't it, you say?
The, under the map and the village's height restrictions, it's either 60 feet or 120 feet. Under our standard height restrictions, if this building was located just to the west on the same property, it could go up to 120 feet.
Okay,
Just a point of information, is this a masonry building, masonry construction, or is this a wood frame type of building?
this, oh, I'm sorry,
We'll get into that
Yeah,
on the next
the next
agenda
item.
item.
Okay.
This is just for the height adjustment on the PUD.
And I'll make a motion to approve the height increase to 70 feet on the PUD for the Bohemian Park project.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to increase the PUD height in the Bohemian Park PUD to 70 feet. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. You probably want to stay right there, Tim. Okay, 7B, action regarding site plan review for the Bohemian Park Phase 2, 2100 Holmgren Way, parcel VA-67-A-2. Aaron?
Okay, the requested site plan review is for the Bohemian Park, again, second building. What I'll do here is I'll just scroll down to the site plan for the Bohemian Park. What you see here is the first building that was constructed. So this is Holmgren Way right here. This is Morris Avenue right here. This is the first building, again, 4 stories. The second building right here is proposed to be 5 stories. And I'll zoom in a little bit, get a better look at it. Couple unique features to this building, and what I'll do is I'll kind of go through a quick overview of it, then I'll let Tim kind of hit some of the details of it. In terms of the building itself, there are 70 units of underground parking for 69 units of apartments. There is a small neighborhood scale retail use right here on the end at the corner of Morris and Holmgren Way. Immediately along Morris Avenue is a plaza, quasi-public plaza, where it'll be used for seating for the retail use as well as occasional entertainment uses. Kind of a nice hangout place for residents of the apartment complex as well as the public. In terms of the other units, what you can see here, everything that's outlined, this dashed line, is what will be taken care of in this phase of the development. What you see here is the clubhouse. That'll be a future development, and this is the bioretention basin, which is in right now for stormwater management purposes. Touch on the exterior quickly. As you can see here, this is just the elevation demonstrating the height at about 67 feet, necessitating the 70-foot PUD amendment. In terms of the exterior renderings, we'll get to those in just a second here. Oh, went right past them. It gives you an idea, very similar to the building number 1, or the first building, in terms of the exterior materials. What I'll do at this point, just hit on the recommended conditions of approval that came from site plan review. Then I'll let Tim explain the building and the site plan in a little more detail. So in terms of the site plan review, recommended conditions of approval, we do request all metal panels are to utilize concealed fasteners consistent with village code. All ground-mounted and roof-mounted mechanical units and associated materials are to be screened from view from the subject property line and right-of-way boundaries, again, consistent with village code. As the building is greater than 50 feet tall and within Airport Zoning District C, the applicant must obtain an application for a height permit and approval from the Green Bay Austin Straubel Airport Director. Obtain an approved PUD amendment for height from the village, and meet all applicable parts of 17-2-200, all other applicable parts of the Ashwaubenon Municipal Code. It's kind of our catch-all, in case we missed anything specifically. From engineering, contact utility operations supervisor for a quote on connecting the village water main and stubbing the 8-inch line to the development. The cost is to be charged to the development and includes restoration of road and sidewalk. In terms of stormwater, verify the functionality of the existing bioretention area and complete any maintenance required. Protect the existing bioretention area with appropriate erosion control measures, so your silt fence, straw bales, whatever else you might need. From public safety, confirm the fire lane provided on the west side of the building to be 24 feet in width and turning radius is adequate for fire apparatus. A Knox box is required near the main entrance to the building. And provide an additional private hydrant on the west side of the building, work with public safety on the exact location. From forestry, Tim had mentioned that he has a very comprehensive landscape plan. He's very satisfied with what's proposed there. From Bike and Ped, the inclusion of bicycle parking that meets the recommendations of the Association of Pedestrian and Bicycling Professionals near the retail use and a second for tenants near their primary entrance. As this is a very walkable, bikeable part of the village, we anticipate a lot of people will be walking and biking both to and from this property. It makes sense to have some sort of bike facilities in those locations. So with that, I'll hand it off to Tim to provide some detail, and I'll be happy to play Vanna White to your Pat Sajak.
Sure. So to answer the question earlier, it's much like phase 1 where the lower level will be precast concrete, and it'll be an extended deck, which will be some of it, part of it green, and then above that it'll be stick frame. So this building tries to really complement the first phase without copying it, so we wanted to be unique. We wanted to do something that was, again, custom for the neighborhood. So we took the same palette and we kind of re-articulated it in a new way, and we played with the massing a little bit. On this facade, we did understand that, you know, going up another story could be taller than what you guys might want to see, and it could be perceived as cavernous. So we actually stepped the massing back from the street. There's a row of walk-up apartments there that exposes a green roof to the floors above. So the massing proper actually steps back from the street, and a lower height massing is present at the street. So we thought that would help with kind of humanizing it and then activating that pedestrian path. And then again, on the corner here, what you're looking at is kind of the retail space, which we hope someday grows up to be a coffee shop and spills out into that urban plaza. But it could be a good number of things. It could be a restaurant or something like that. But the plaza itself is intended to be a public amenity. It's got big grass sitting steps, a little stage area. So the vision for that is that it's a really active public amenity. There's terrace area above it as well. And then some of the articulation that you're seeing here, those big core 10 shrouds are intended to really landmark the corner with some sort of feature architectural element.
Beautiful building. Thank you,
Thank you.
Tim. Okay, any questions?
So getting back to my question then, the first floor is a masonry framework, And the top four floors are wood framework?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
This, as Aaron stated, came through the site plan. This is one of those buildings that the village will certainly enjoy seeing. It's what Madam President calls the wow look. It does have a great appeal from the north and the west. It'll really, really spruce up this part of the village, so. If there's no other questions, I'll move to approve as presented. Bohemian Park Phase 2, 2100 Holdrum Way, parcel VA-67-A-2 with the staff comments.
Do we have a second?
Second for you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Does anybody else have any questions?
I think it's a good development, and I think it fits in very well. I think it's a step forward, that type of thing. The only thing I have a problem with, and that has nothing to do with approving this, is the wood construction going up like 4 floors. That's something that was revised by the state a number of years ago, and I think that was a folly. But that being said, it has nothing to do with this. So I think this is a good development, and I think it'll be an asset to the community.
Okay.
The only question that I'd have is more overarching, has nothing to do with this project. So it's more about, we've added a lot of different buildings and apartment complexes recently, and I know that public safety looks at it, but they look at it from this perspective, how safe is this? I'm starting to think of overall, okay, we are adding all of these different complexes and that. Does public safety at any point in time look at what is the overall coverage for the village as far as do we have enough safety personnel on staff at any one time to be able to cover all of the different expansions that we're adding? I think we need to be aware that we're constantly adding things like that. At some point, we're going to have to add services in order to be able to support all of it. Nothing to do with this project. I'm just looking at it overall because lately we've added a number of different complexes, and I'm starting to go, well, at some point that has to happen. And I know it gets reviewed in each individual project, but it's more, can I get a truck in? Is there water lines I can get to? Things like that. I'm speaking more of overall, does public safety look at everything and saying, okay, come back with a recommendation that they got to increase staff or do something at some point? So that's my only comment.
I see Joel grabbing the mic.
Yeah, ooh, excuse me. Jeremy wanted to make sure that it was plenty loud. Apologize. Yes, we certainly look at that, but empirical data over a period of time will suggest what our service needs are. Right. So as that data continues to evolve, not that this project or even the entire build out of this is going to eventually break that threshold, we do look at those numbers on a year-to-year basis to determine whether or not we need to change or improve staffing levels, in particular with public safety.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's some formula out there as to how many within how many square miles, and so, yeah, that's great. As long as that's being covered, that's.
Wasn't that the intent of a study that was done not too long ago to take a look at the impacts on the development in Ashwaubenon and the impacts on the services provided by public safety? I've not seen that study, but I thought there was a study done to that effect.
You're talking about probably the Fitch study?
I believe that was the study.
Yeah. That didn't necessarily deal with what's coming. It dealt with how many calls and the volume and different things that we have right now. So, but yeah, when the internal site plan review goes through all of these different projects, they do talk about all that. So yes, we are growing, so we know that, we will, we've talked constant conversations with Public Works too, because we'll have more street crews and garbage trucks and recycling trucks. And So,
Yeah, that impact will be more than just public safety, but
Correct.
it's a good point, Jay. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
we have to be cognizant of,
And it's a good problem to have. So it's just making
Right.
sure that we've got it covered.
Isn't there some state and federal mandates on, as population grows, what you need for public safety?
I don't
I
get it.
don't know, it's just a thought I had. But, you know, you're talking about village population, I know I'm getting off the little subject here. If you looked in the Press Times this weekend, they had a 50th year anniversary when this became from a town to a village. Back when this was a village, we had a population of 15,000 already. So over that 50 years, we went from 15 to 17,000. So you can just see that the increase is not as great as what you're anticipating because of the lack of land and what we're building. You know, this particular project probably will house about as many people as that was in that area before they knocked down all those apartment homes. So,
Right.
you know, we didn't really increase population that much in that area, I don't think, and it's pretty well self-contained as far as we lost streets.
Good
I
point.
believe you guys do your own garbage pickup and whatever, so, you know, we've lost a few services there too.
Right. So, any more questions, comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Number 8, thank you, Tim. Number 8, items for next agenda. We have to discuss the date of the next agenda because it is on Election Day. So,
Didn't we just move that from a Tuesday to a Thursday?
we did last time,
Yeah.
so it would be moved to April 8th. Does anybody have problems with moving our Tuesday plan board to Thursday? Nope, I don't have any problems. Okay. That's what we'll do then. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are done.
This conference is no longer being